Okay, there we go. And then I'll share my screen.
Did
Yeah, I
you
put
get
the
the link
notes in
I sent
chat.
you?
I did. Yes, I added it
Yeah.
to the doc. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, great. Over to you, Wayne.
So good morning, everyone. Our March 11th Accessibility Standards and Compliance Committee meeting. Um, I put the notes link in chat and um, it may be a brief meeting, but we'll go through the agenda. And Kelly, you're first with the
All right.
accessibility draft.
Perfect. So I have done the accessibility statement draft and I've kind of set it up for future iterations. Um, if we could open that up and share, it's pretty short. Um, and basically, I threw it out here so that we could kick it around and change it should we need to. Because this is just the statement of commitment, it's very short. I tried to hit on all the major points that we're trying to do. And then I placed placeholders for links that we would put in when we had those things done. So our full accessibility policy and our roadmap for accessibility can go as links associated with this wherever we put it on a website. Um, I modeled it based on my favorite accessibility statement, which was actually Shopify. Um, so it isn't like a straight regurgitation, but I definitely influenced what I was thinking because it really fit how I think we think about this too. Um, but yes, people can absolutely take a minute and read it, and we can talk about it, we can change it, we can do whatever
Uh,
the
Overall, I
group.
really like actually the wording and the tone of this quite a lot. It isn't committal to anything specific, which is a good thing. Um, but it gives our sentiment on it essentially and what we're striving for. I
Yes.
like it a lot.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I like the, yeah, it's a very tight statement with all the right words in it. Um, Kelly, do you want me to click on one of the other links here in the tab too?
They're
Is there
just
anything that they're
basically
just
no,
placeholder there? Oh, okay.
yeah.
Got it. Okay,
They're
It's
great.
just the
basically
landmarks within that statement.
yeah.
Awesome. How do you would how would you like to share this out for more feedback, both to the team and to the community?
So I actually put this settings wise together as anyone who has the link can look at it. So
Yeah.
I figured if we all were in agreement from a group perspective that we wanted to share it out to the community for comment, we could absolutely do that with this document.
Okay, great.
If we want to put it
Yeah.
in a different place, we can, but
Sure.
we can absolutely use this document directly.
Okay, I'll share it in the Matrix channel afterwards. Is it best for folks to comment in the Matrix channel, or would you like comments right in the document?
I would love comments in the document. I think that would allow us to
Okay.
keep a record of them and respond to them accordingly,
Okay.
and for people to be able to see changes made in accordance with some of their requests or have a place to come back to see, why we made what decision we made.
Okay. Awesome. This is great. Steps forward. Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Yeah, we could also add the current state of the draft in the meeting notes just for people if they don't want
Yeah.
to drill down into the document.
Yeah. Totally.
Kelly, you'll make that change to the share to make it edit suggestions.
Yep, I am in the process of doing that now.
Great, thanks.
No problem.
Awesome. Sol isn't here for she isn't here right now, so maybe I'll do her update for her. She's
Hmm.
basically looking at what we had for MDN guidelines. She's been looking at W3, WCAG, all of that stuff. And then, so she's just doing a whole bunch of research on it. And then we'll pair back into a bit of an outline statement for what we will be doing. Oh, not in MDN, just guidelines in general. Yeah. She's been looking at what we have in there, and then we're building upon that. So it's our own guidelines that we'll end up housing in our, but they'll be in the document. They'll be in the design system documentation resources section under the accessibility part for now. So she'll have more. We'll continue that on in April.
We should make sure these guidelines align with the checklist, since
Yes.
that definitely has essentially
Mm.
guidelines and is
Yeah.
opinionated.
Yeah.
Because that either one can be updated, I'm sure, but just make sure that they align with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's looking at like this will be kind of the, you know, I don't want to say the beginning part of any sort of
Yep,
project cycle. And then, of course, it has to line up with any checklist at the end for doing to make sure that those
right.
things are all there. So yeah, she's got all of those things. So it's actually quite a big project, but we're
Oh, it is. There's a
I've
lot
got,
of information there if she's going through all of the MDN and
yeah,
WCAG, and
yeah.
that's not a small thing.
No, it's not. So it's good though. She's really into it. She recently, by looking at WCAG, uh, uncovered an aha about buttons versus links. So it's very valuable research. Yeah, which is wonderful. So more to come on that. It'll be a long, ongoing project. So, but we'll start to get some drafts in, and then we can all keep adding to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And is that design system document then public?
Yeah, here I'll put that in the notes here. So
Thank you.
perfect. Okay, awesome. So that's that. So guidelines, we're working on guidelines. So the what do I want to say? We want to have these available, of course, because we're opening up a lot more design contribution, and then we've always had dev contribution, but making sure that this is in place as criteria for if you're finished something, definition of done needs to have all these things included in it to be passable.
Sounds good.
Automated, yeah. Which then brings us to automated testing. So all the things that you don't do manually. I'll just give this update on all the various platforms here. So I touched base with Ashley yesterday. She sends her regrets for the meeting. So far with mobile, iOS, there's nothing planned at the moment for automated accessibility testing, and that's because we're in very early alpha phases, so much more to be discovered there. So really welcome to hear any thoughts and considerations as we go into building up iOS, because we're very much in a nascent stage.
The
Yeah,
one good thing with iOS is that is assuming they use all the built-in native controls and do everything, kind of the
yeah,
right way. A lot of it's built in to just work because iOS is very accessibility forward to
it
begin
is.
with.
Yeah,
Um, so that not that that is testing, but it tends to be pretty good to start with at least, and
for
fits built the right way.
yeah, totally. So we just have to make sure that we're lining up with that and that we have
Yeah.
good coverage. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's also what do I say? The manual part here too will really help, especially I know for my team doing design QA too, checking
Yeah.
to make sure that those things are in place too. But yeah, I'm curious to know what kind of automated checks we can do too, which is great lead in to Android. So right now they're running Maestro UI tests, but those are not accessibility specific. So more
Right.
to be uncovered there. And in that same kind of light, like I know. plan for this year, we'll likely do some Fable testing with our Android platform. I know there's a lot of things with TalkBack missing, which I would hope that somewhat of an automated testing plan would cover a bit more so that we could have those flags. I know if you run some of the testing tools that we have in our resources section, they will catch some of those things too. But again, that's a bit more of a manual thing. So a little
Yeah.
bit more to be had in for mobile around this area to make sure that we're covered. Um, yeah.
Very good.
Over on website, I touched base with Rob, who also sends his regrets. Um, and I touched base with Philip as well. Right now, there's no automated testing, accessibility automated testing plan in place at the moment, but they are planning for it. So they have it added to their testing roadmap. And then that will exist in their end-to-end test framework for services. So there's a plan for it, will be coming this year. So more to be unpacked on that one as well. And then Alexander, why don't you handle desktop?
Sure. So the patch for the first phase of automated testing has been fully approved actually for quite some time now. I've reached out to Stephen, who is the one that actually put it up from the build side of things, and haven't heard back yet, but hopefully I will shortly with when he plans on merging that, or if it had just kind of got forgotten or whatever the case may be. But hopefully we'll get that merged in and. With that, our plan is that it's going to fail on many things to start with. We didn't we're going to allow it to intentionally fail so that we have a basically uh almost like a checklist to go through and fix everything there, and that it's not just ignored and a little more in our face so that we get through that quickly. Because we have a lot of old interfaces that need updating, and so that's gonna kind of call us out on all of it. It's
Absolutely.
not great automated testing. It's really just some really basic, making sure like that alt text is provided in some form, or that different like button attribute things and interactive things are proper. Their second phase of that will be a hopefully I can get the Axe accessibility testing that I've been working on working in our tests, and that's a far more extensive set of automated tests that'll even check like color contrast and things like that throughout. Um, so that's the current plan. Yeah.
Awesome. Lovely. Things are happening. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. So the next item on the agenda is success metrics. Um, are you going to be covering that?
I can,
Or
yeah. We are a small group today, but yeah, this is and almost I think that this almost leans back into what Alexander was just talking about. So we talked about success metrics last meeting. What we need is a base for these so that we can measure against how are we doing in terms of accessibility, and then that's a great, communication point, a measurement that we can have. In terms of, I know for design system adoption, there needs to be an analysis of both of the UI components that I think my team could handle once, probably we could probably plan for that maybe for the second half of the year. Um, and then, yeah, it's like we almost have to decide what are the most important areas and you know, figure out are those areas passing to our bar of what good looks like. And then what Alexander just mentioned was the defects as well. So yeah, that this can be unpacked a whole bunch more to figure out exactly what we want to measure. In terms of desktop, we did a bunch of studies in Fable too. So we do have some idea. And I think that
Yeah.
there's most of those things are logged in Bugzilla as well.
Yeah, and we on our side, unfortunately, mostly what we've been getting to, other than just bugs that have been filed here and there, is the new work, making sure that it is where it should be.
Yeah.
And we haven't really had time to go back and look at like the mail side of things, like all of mail, which is honestly the most important bit, and
Mhm.
how well all of that's been put together because we haven't really been working in that area at all.
Mhm.
So that's one of those things where this will come in more to kind of call on those areas that are important, but that we're not really looking at right now.
Mhm. I'm sure as we level up our QA processes for accessibility, this is where we might be able to collect some measurement numbers at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I just kind of we'll probably keep this conversation going to see if we can kind of get some sort of we probably need a
Well,
place to put these things and how we're measuring them to be determined.
yeah, and a good starting place, at least that's easy, is once there's automated tests, the percentage of UI that's covered or percentage that's passing, depending on the tests that we're looking at, sort of thing, is um, something interesting. Oh, and I had actually forgot there was a third thing for the automated testing for desktop
Hmm.
that I'm looking into a little bit, which is a linter that's accessibility related. It's just a little tricky to get to work because our code isn't essentially complete code in or our markup in its static phase. Like when we write HTML documents or XHTML in our case, they on their own, normally you just run the linter on those and it would yell at you or not. But ours aren't complete because of things like internationalization. So the linters freak out saying, oh, there's no text in this, no text anywhere, no alt text. But there is, but it's because it's internationalized. So we have to figure out a way to get it to run on the finalized version during tests versus like a normal linter. So we're looking into that, but there's some challenges there. That is something that I could talk to Web about if they are interested, though, because for them it would just work because they are normal web. I don't know how that work what their pipeline looks like right now, but that's an easy one that you can just more or less add to your linting that I'm sure they already have.
That might be great for if you're able to touch base with Rob Wood as he starts to get the
Yeah.
testing plan in place. I'll put that down in an action item down here. Um, awesome.
Yes.
Because that's
So,
an
go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say because that's a really easy one for normal cases to use. It's just desktop is weird.
Yeah, desktop. It's a special place.
Sorry, what were you gonna say though, Wayne?
Actually, just to jump back up to the web um, item, if there's nothing else under desktop.
No, no, that was
Um,
all.
so the web item above actually partly t relates to an item I have here under community participation, where it's probably not appropriate, but I think I have something under there about um, right. Are we meeting accessibility needs in areas other outside the application? So um, basically our network prop or our web properties. So that would um, in theory cover that area to some degree. Is that right? Um,
So I think that this is talking more about the services side of web
oh,
things, was
okay.
my assumption.
Mhm.
The websites themselves, I have no idea if they have any thoughts or are doing anything with that.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, I would say if we have our standards in place, any of our web, um, looking at all the things noted here, like for example, our main site, like thunderbird.net, like if we're working to our standards, it should be completely compliant in there. So I
Yeah,
should
it
be able
definitely should
to,
be.
yeah, like
Right,
these are
but
the
can we
things
verify
like
that, right?
Yeah, and this is why, like, we're starting to get more of a practice in place. Like, I know my team is doing, they're documenting now for accessibility. So, what is the keyboard navigation? What do we need for screen reader? Eventually we'll be doing more alt text. We're always checking for color contrast. All of those things need to be handled. And so, every single thing that we touch should be up to our standard in those areas.
Well,
Yeah.
the good thing about web is anyone can open the inspector tools and actually
Mhm.
run Lighthouse, which is an
Yeah.
extremely robust set of tools right from the inspector and see
Mhm.
the status and get flagged on a huge chunk of what are the things that we're looking for,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
So
is
in
nice.
some ways too, in terms of like, when we're catching bugs that could be out there, like these are important flags if it comes from our community too, you've run something in Lighthouse, you caught something, log the issue, flag it, work on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lighthouse is one of those things where it can be wrong, but it's good to check it because it's
Mhm.
usually right.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. True.
So is that in effect uh, opening the accessibility item in the
Yes.
developer tools?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Sorry, Lighthouse is the product that lives behind that powers it, but they've all merged it directly into the developer tools now.
Okay.
And you'll get like a whole big list of things probably on almost anything that you go to complaining. It's very rare. Even things that actually pass a human review, it's rare that they'll fully pass on Lighthouse.
Mm-hmm. I just opened it on the accessibility meeting documents, and so the first item that picks up is keyboard clickable elements must be focusable and should have interactive semantics.
Yep.
And I guess there's an item in there
Yep.
that doesn't meet that requirement.
Well, it doesn't
Or
detect that it does, which isn't necessarily mean that it doesn't. It's a
okay,
funny thing. Anything in Lighthouse needs to be human verified.
mm, okay.
It's true. You cannot take the human out of the equation. Let's underscore that.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
I'll
it's
just
a
tell you.
great tool. I am a huge proponent of it, but it's just something that you really do need to manually verify everything because it doesn't always understand the pattern that is being used, even if it is correct.
Mhm. Awesome.
Okay, great. Um, just a checkpoint, we're at about 30 minutes of our 40-minute meeting, and we're up to the community participation bullet item in the meeting agenda. I clarified these items from what we had from the previous meeting and didn't have anything specific at this point to call out. Maybe we want to talk about these at a future meeting or just maybe touch on one or two items.
Sure. Why don't we
Does it-
touch on one or two? Yeah. Yeah. So that we have them recorded in the YouTube for anyone.
yeah.
Mhm.
Does anybody have a particular item they'd like to talk about? I think there's one, two, three, four, five items.
Maybe just start with the first one. Go down.
Yeah.
So that item was partly born of the fact or an idea that we blog about a lot of things and tout certain capabilities of Thunderbird, but at least in the longer history of Thunderbird, we really haven't promoted accessibility capabilities, and so that's to a large degree what that item is about.
Yeah. We should be talking about, I mean, in today's world for anything that's digital. It's a standard. We have, WCAG has been around as a standard for a long time, and now we have the European Accessibility Act as well. So we're mandated uh, to make sure that we're up to par with all of these things. Um, we're being, what do I want to say? We're not as forefront. I'll give an example of when I used to work in a Canadian telecom. We were CRTC mandated. So every couple of years we would get audited, and then we would have to fix or make sure that we're compliant on certain levels. Otherwise we would be facing very, very high fines for not being compliant. There are different standards all out there that are similar internationally. But yeah, they're getting, these things are becoming much more um, focused on a little bit. Like with the EAA coming in, it's like if running a government site, it has to be compliant and will be closely looked at. And there's go ahead and read maybe I'll link in the European Accessibility Act because it's quite new. But yeah, it's yeah. Alexander, is there anything you want to say? I feel like you have a lot on this topic.
Um, yeah, I was just gonna say that because you were talking about the different standards there, that while the the European one is the first time where a company like us is actually held accountable to the standards, because typically non-brick and mortar, non-governmental things are uh, exempt. And so this is the first time that like MZLA is actually held accountable, which is good. And we are, doing things in every effort the right way to get in compliance. We're not right now, I'm sure, because we're a very old product. But the whole point is to actively be working towards that, and we definitely are. Yeah,
I think too, like the more we're able to talk about this, like if I think about the marketing perspective that you're asking, Wayne, like
yeah.
we've had a couple of community forums on it, especially when my team did the Fable studies. Um, the more we elevate that conversation, the more we get our community engaged around these topics. And we can see, I know Casey's not here today, but Casey joined us for design contribution as well and was doing, she did an amazing audit on search and desktop and gave a lot of feedback on what she was seeing there and what could be improved upon. Would be amazing, for other people who are wanting to learn and grow their skills in this area to help us. If there's a developer wanting to learn in this area, there's lots and lots
Well,
of tickets they could help with. Yeah.
and that's also part of, in that respect, what our intent is with this first phase of the automated testing is it gives anyone from the community that's interested something to look at, like, here's failing tests, go fix them, and that's something you can contribute specifically in the area of accessibility. And I, our plan is still to work towards representation with the W3C for the accessibility standards. Got kind of stalled last year on getting together the people that needed to talk about it and some other things, but that still is, and that's a big part of getting ourselves out in the community in the area of accessibility, is to actually be proactive when it comes to standards and what we see our users needing and what the capabilities are of the platform right now, to best meet our users' needs.
Mhm. I can give an example too that I've had. It keeps coming in. I've heard a few people touch base that are um, completely blind, but they want, they want to use Thunderbird to check their email. Can they do that right now? Kinda, but we need to do a lot of work in that area.
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few
Yeah.
users that are fully blind that do
Hmm.
use the product. Wayne deals with a bunch of them
Yeah.
pretty
Yep.
regularly, and I was engaging with
Yeah.
several of them recently on some issues. And I'll say we need to, and not necessarily us internally, but it's good if we can start getting a better level of response on some of those.
Mhm.
Because, like, one of the issues I was working with Wayne on recently, we had a very disgruntled community member. And the issue was only getting him more disgruntled, it seems. But by actual employees stepping in and addressing the issue versus just community other members doing it, the issue was resolved to that person's liking, it seemed, um, almost immediately. So more direct involvement can be a good thing for sure.
Yeah, the more frequently we can involve users directly is
Oh,
very
sorry,
helpful.
Wayne, I can't hear you, but I think it's me.
Oh,
Oh,
I could hear
nope.
you, Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it's back now. My laptop received a phone call and it went weird on me.
Yeah, yeah. We find this in all areas really, where we can have direct rapport with a user on their issue is often the most effective way of getting things improved.
Well, especially when this person was feeling like they weren't being heard and
Hmm.
weren't being understood, um, because they were using a screen reader. Um, and so we really needed to make them understand that we do have people that use screen readers and we do understand what that means and that we are going to work towards addressing the issue, but that they also needed to use the things available to them already, not because the person was very disgruntled over some things that were already possible. He just didn't necessarily want to listen to the way to do them. And so it
Mm-hmm.
was a very fine balance.
Yeah, maybe maybe we can build out some auxiliary information, I don't know, on NDN or on Wiki about how people can help self-diagnose their issue. We do that with some other things. Um,
Yeah.
and this whole discussion really, to some degree, touches on the last bullet item, which is, opportunities for user engagement. Um, we have, we have a beta user topic. Um, we have a daily user topic both for desktop. Um, we don't have anything of our own really accessibility oriented, which we is remains to be determined what we want. But just developing um, like a core of users who we can touch base with on accessibility issues would probably be a good thing.
Yeah, and like that started to happen with the issue that I was referencing, where we had multiple visually impaired users discussing in the issue, but unfortunately they were not getting along. And having a greater community, we could have more people to pull from that might work better.
In working with Fable, it was amazing the users that came to do that testing with us, how many of them use Thunderbird already.
So
Mm,
it does,
Flagging that
while it
was
might
really
not
great.
be, well, so while it might not be perfect, it does definitely work. There are users out there that are using it, that understand the way it works and have learned to basically do it that way, even if it's not the way they would prefer, in some cases. Uh, so, I mean, it's hard to judge how big our community is because we don't know if someone's using a screen reader. That's not
right.
something that we track or should track even.
No. Yeah,
Uh, but they do exist. They are
Hmm.
they are
they
out there.
definitely exist. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
the more we can hear from people and what they're experiencing, the more we can make our Thunderbird and all touch points better for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's also like a hole in our testing process to some degree. Having been release manager for a number of years, I have, people who have various skills that I can call upon to test certain things if I know, that there's something that might n n need some scrutiny. But on the accessibility end of the spectrum, I have very few people that I can call upon. In fact, historically, um, it hasn't happened much, and only I would say in the bug reports that we get, which aren't all that frequent.
Mm. So if
Yeah,
anyone's listening to this, they need to get in touch with you, right, Wayne?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
and that's
Uh,
really, really important and helpful. Like in my past experience with open source and accessibility stuff, it was our community, higher level community members that provided the real feedback and testing that allowed us to get it right when there was complex situations, because we'd often find that the standards essentially got it wrong and that they used it, what they say directly often didn't really work well for the real users. And so real user feedback is really, really important, because then that can also be used to influence the standards to get them to be correct to the way people actually use things, to improve everything, not just us.
Yeah. There's also an interesting knock-on effect, as I guess the British would say, which is that that when you get somebody involved in testing specific things, you wind up having them find other things. So it's all good.
so true.
Um, we're at time. Is there anything else we need to touch on?
No, that's all. We could bring some of these other topics into the community forum for next meeting in April. And if anyone has any additional questions or anything they'd like us to touch on, post in the Matrix channel, that would be really helpful. I guess it's just the closing bits there that we can get to.
Yeah, so our next meeting is April 7, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern, and 5 p.m. UTC. And we need a
I might
facilitator for the next meeting.
I'm gonna double check those times afterwards. I was like, the time
Mm,
change might be slightly off, so I'll let everybody know what the update is, but it is the first week in April for sure.
mm.
I
Okay.
guess we're a small group. Anyone want to facilitate next time? Wayne, you've done an awesome job today.
I can do it again. That's fine with me.
Sure. You want to go
All right.
twice? Sure.
Sure.
All right.
And we can stop the recording.
Yeah, I will stop the recording. Where is it? Okay, I'll stop sharing. Hold on. It's so weird that because I've got chat open always.
Laurel, did you know